Am I the a-hole for refusing to drop my ex-husband's last name? I, 56F, divorced my husband 2 years ago after 26 years of marriage. We have 4 kids, and the split was amicable. He came out as gay, and we mutually agreed to part ways. Changing my name wasn't a priority. Updating IDs, legal documents, and bank accounts would be a huge hassle. I still use his last name on official documents, but go by my maiden name socially. Recently, he got engaged to a wonderful guy. I've been supportive of their relationship, but during my grandson's birthday party, my ex suddenly asked if I'd consider dropping his last name. His fiancée chimed in, saying it makes him uncomfortable that I still use it. I was caught off guard and awkwardly joked that unless they wanted to spend hours in lines at various government offices, I wasn't going to change it. My ex didn't laugh. He insisted it's about starting a new chapter and wants me to move on. The whole situation felt bizarre. For 2 years, it's never been an issue, and now they're ganging up on me. After the party, my ex called and argued that keeping his name makes it hard for his fiancée to feel like they're starting a fresh life. I countered that our kids still use the same name, and it would feel strange for me to be the odd one out. What really hurt was learning from my youngest son that his fiancée feels threatened by my name, assuming I'm clinging to some claim on my ex. I've made it clear I have zero interest in rekindling anything, but it feels like I'm being pressured to erase a part of my identity. My ex admitted his fiancée is uncomfortable because he sees me keeping the name as a power play. I feel like I'm caught between trying to keep peace and being forced into something just because his fiancée is insecure. They want me to go through the hassle of changing everything for their comfort. I told my ex that I'll consider it later, maybe after they're married and settled. But now, he's furious, saying I'm being petty and selfish. My friends think I should stand my ground, but my kids are divided. One thinks I should just give in to keep the peace, while the other agrees that it's ridiculous to change it just because his fiancée feels insecure. I'm frustrated. I don't see why a name on some legal documents is such a big deal, but they're making me feel like the villain. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to drop my ex-husband's last name even though he's getting remarried? Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay for my niece's wedding after promising to cover it? Not the a-hole. So, I'm a 35-year-old guy, and I've always been close with my older sister, Emily, 38F, and her daughter, Lily, 22F. Emily had Lily when she was young, 16. And since she was a single mom for most of it, I've always tried to help out where I could. Over the years, I've paid for Lily's summer camps, her college applications, and even her first car. I did this because I love them both and always wanted to support them. A year ago, Lily got engaged to her long-term boyfriend. When they announced the engagement at a family dinner, I said I'd be happy to help with wedding expenses. I never said I'd pay for everything, but apparently, my offer was interpreted as me footing the bill for the whole wedding. It became clear when Lily and Emily started planning a big, extravagant affair. A destination wedding, 200+ guests, you name it. I sat them down and said I'd contribute $15,000, which I thought was a pretty generous amount, but they both seemed really upset. Lily said I promised to pay for the wedding, and Emily backed her up, saying I always supported them, and this was the least I could do. Apparently, they were expecting I'd cover a $50,000 plus wedding. I told them that wasn't happening. $15,000 was all I could give. Now, here's where things get worse. Lily and Emily stopped including me in the wedding planning entirely. I didn't hear much from them for a while, and it turns out they booked everything for the wedding thinking I'd eventually cave and cover it. Now they're in over their heads, and the wedding is just 3 months away. Emily called me, crying, saying they were going to lose deposits and that I ruined the wedding by not coming through. Lily isn't speaking to me. Here's the kicker. Emily and Lily are now saying I'm being manipulative, offering to help and then taking it away at the last second, making them look bad in front of the groom's family. They claim they never would have planned something so extravagant if I hadn't promised to cover it all. But I never said that. I said I'd help. I feel like I've done more than enough over the years, but now I'm being treated like the villain for not paying for this giant wedding. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for turning a wedding dress into a cosplay rather than letting my cousin have it for her wedding? I, 27F, am an avid cosplayer, my girlfriend, 28F, and I go to all conventions we can and have a lot of fun making our costumes together and prepping for the year. 3 months ago, my girlfriend and my cousin, 30F, went around charity shops looking for pieces we could turn into cosplays. My cousin isn't a cosplayer, but she tagged along as she likes a good bargain hunt. In the third shop we found in the window an old school wedding dress. It had a few stains and minor rips, but all in all, was in good condition. My girlfriend and I joked with my cousin that she should buy it for her wedding, but she turned her nose up at it, stating she wanted brand new and she'd not be caught dead in an old-fashioned dress. We let it go, and my girlfriend was the one to point out to me that if we did some alterations it'd be a perfect dupe for Sarah's ball gown in Jim Henson's Labyrinth, which is our favorite movie. I realized she was right and asked her if she wanted to make this our next major matching costume. She agreed. For the convention season of 2025 we will be Jareth and Sarah. I bought the dress and my cousin made a few jokes about it, but we heard nothing back from her, not until 2 days ago. I've been posting progress of my dress on social media and it's finally done and looks amazing. My cousin told me she'd not found a dress she likes and I've done wonders with this dress, that she changed her mind and she'd be happy to meet the price I'd paid, £150, and even throw in an extra £100 for my time fixing it up. I laughed and asked if she was joking. She told me she was deadly serious and I told her that wasn't happening. This led to a fight and I was getting annoyed. My girlfriend took the phone at this point and told her she had her chance to get the dress and that it was a cosplay now, not a wedding dress. We've since been bombarded by my family trying to get in contact, some pleading, some trying to cajole, and others straight up berating us for not letting my cousin buy the dress, or even better yet being a good cousin and gifting it to her, that I shouldn't turn a charity shop wedding dress into a costume as it stopped brides who really needed it having it. I'm getting stressed and upset with this, and my girlfriend is currently fielding any calls we get and telling them off for upsetting me. She's a wonder, and I am so grateful to have her with me for this. Am I the a-hole though? I am starting to worry because of the widespread reaction. This is the first time I've bought a wedding dress to convert like this, but it was already damaged, and I've brought it back to life. Surely it's better than it being ignored like it was? Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother's fiancée to grow up and stop trying to put her anger and trauma on me? My brother Matt, 30M, is engaged to Evelyn, 32F. Matt is our parents' bio son. I'm 25F, their adopted daughter. We have another sister who is a bio and 2 more brothers who are adopted. Our parents fostered many kids and adopted some of us. I always knew I was adopted. I was removed from an unsafe environment and didn't have any safe bio relatives. My bio family is tiny in terms of known, and none of them are good people. I'm glad I was adopted. I feel so lucky to have found a family who embraced the fact we were not biologically connected but loved us the same and didn't try to make it shameful. Those of us who were adopted have our own circumstances for being so. One of my brothers was orphaned, and his biological parents wanted a family who would love and take care of him, and he got that with us. Matt's fiancée Evelyn was adopted as an infant, and she has a lot of feelings about that. I understand why she has some complicated feelings regarding being adopted, and why she feels like her parents bought a child because they wanted one versus wanting to give a child a good life. Her adoptive parents wanted to erase her bio side and shamed her for ever having an interest in it, and they talked badly about her birth family her whole life. I don't think that was right or okay. But Evelyn is obsessed with making every adoptee feel the same way she does. She has spoken negatively about my parents robbing 3 kids of their rights to have legal access to their biological family history and identity. She has suggested I was brainwashed by CPS into believing I was removed for safety reasons from my birth family and had no safe birth relatives. Spoiler alert, all my known birth relatives have all been to prison multiple times, and yes, I looked them up. She has told me I'm just traumatized and afraid to speak out and say I was denied my real family. I told her that's not how I feel. She told me it's how we all feel, that adopted kids are products in the US. I told Matt I couldn't take that, and I'd need to see him and Evelyn less if she can't stop. She keeps seeking me out though, and on Saturday, while she was in my parents' home and tried to bring it up again, I snapped. I couldn't stand her talking like that about the people who were in the home, and I told her to grow up and accept people are different because only kids think everyone should feel the same, and that she needed to stop putting her anger and trauma on me because we don't feel the same. She said I was spiteful throwing that in her face. Am I the a-hole? Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister who can't have kids that she does not get to be a part of naming mine and my wife's babies? My older sister, 34F, was born without the reproductive organs required to have a biological child. Because of her condition, she also has some other health problems which disqualify her from adopting due to the uncertainty around her quality and length of life. She was aware for most of her life that she couldn't have biological children. That was discovered when she was still very young, but the rest came throughout her 20s. She had dreams of motherhood and had lists of baby names she wanted to use. But she will never be able to use them on children that are hers. What I, 28M, did not know at the time was she had saved her baby names and was hoping she would get to name or help name my future children. My wife, 27F, and I are expecting our first child. We haven't announced the sex, but my sister thinks we're having a girl and shared her girl name with us. We thanked her and said we, my wife and I, would discuss what the name would be at some point. My sister looked upset by the response, and she then shared her boy names thinking she got it wrong. We gave her the same response. My mom suggested a couple of months ago that it would be generous and kind to let my sister have some input. I told her we felt it was better if we named our child ourselves. My wife and I did look at the list, just to see if we liked any of the names. We did not. Names on the list included Elizabeth, Hannah, Rosemary, and Francesca for girls, and James, Edward, Patrick, and Michael for boys. Those just aren't to our preference. None of them were, and there were more names. My sister mentioned the names again recently, and she said we should pick Elizabeth for a girl and Michael for a boy. She said that's what she'd do if she were having the baby. I told her we hadn't made our mind up yet, but we're still in discussions about it. She offered to help and I said no thanks. My wife and I wanted to figure it out between us. My sister said she wants to be a part of naming all our babies, that she would love to share all her endless thoughts on names that she'll never get to put into her own kid. I told her I understood she wanted that, but my wife and I as parents would name our child, and she does not get to be a part of that. I told her I understood that was hurtful to her, but she does not get a say. I also asked her to please stop bringing it up. My sister told me I could let her have at least a little say in this, and I said sorry, but no. She cried to Mom, who thinks we should be more sensitive, while my dad told my sister I wasn't wrong and she needs to accept that she doesn't get to name our baby. My response has caused a divide among my parents and sister and me. It has been made clear my mom thinks I lack compassion and my sister believes I'm hurtful to her. Am I the a-hole?